Throughout history, empires rise with brilliance and fall with blindness. Spain, Britain, the Soviet Union, each thought they were eternal, but everyone followed the same hidden pattern: overreach, decay, and collapse. And today, America walks that same path. It's not prophecy, it's arithmetic written across centuries. Subscribe to uncover how history repeats when nations forget their limits. Empires rarely die in battlefields, they die in balance sheets. When the weight of promises outweighs productivity, collapse begins quietly. The US believes its strength is unique, but so did the empires before it. The pattern begins with pride, justified by prosperity, then consumed by it. In 1590, Spain was the world's richest empire. Gold from the Americas filled its vaults. Its flag flew over half the known world. Yet within 1 century, that gold became poison. When wealth flows faster than wisdom, decadence replaces discipline. Spain's King Philip II believed money could buy destiny. He spent fortunes on wars, monuments, and faith. By 1580, Spanish troops fought on 4 continents. Victory became an addiction funded by silver that wasn't infinite. The first stage of collapse had begun: military overextension. Stage 2 arrived quietly: currency debasement. Silver coins, once pure, now mixed with copper. Inflation soared, merchants revolted, and the currency lost trust. Spain's wealth became paper illusion. History's first warning: power dies when money lies. Stage 3, the debt spiral. When spending never sleeps, debt becomes destiny. Spain borrowed from Italian and German bankers, defaulting 4 times in 40 years. Each bailout only delayed the inevitable. Empires borrow not because they must, but because they can. Stage 4, the loss of productive capacity. Spain imported everything: wine, tools, ships, paid for with American silver. The nobility mocked labor, factories closed, farms died, gold became a curse, production a memory. Stage 5, social decay. Crime rose, poverty spread, intellectuals fled. By 1640, Portugal broke free. By 1700, Spain was a relic. The world's first superpower had become a lesson. The pattern was complete. 3 centuries later, Britain inherited the pattern. In 1914, the sun never set on its empire. It ruled trade, seas, and finance. But empire carries a cost. The weight of global presence drains its heart. Stage 1 returned: military overextension. From India to Africa to China, Britain defended everything, everywhere. When World War I came, it chose empire over solvency. Victory was hollow. The empire won the war, but lost its wealth. Stage 2, currency debasement. The pound sterling, once as good as gold, became a promise Britain couldn't keep. By 1931, they abandoned the gold standard. The world's trusted currency lost its crown overnight. Stage 3, debt spiral. War debt to America turned creditor into servant. Interest replaced empire as the ruling master. Britain's GDP vanished beneath its obligations. The global empire now owed its future to others. Stage 4, loss of empire. India's independence broke the crown jewel. Africa followed, then the Middle East. Britain still held its rituals, but not its riches. The empire dissolved politely into memory. Stage 5, currency collapse. The pound, once global, became local. Inflation, austerity, decline. London's pride, now nostalgia. By the 1980s, the empire's currency was a tourist token. Britain still claimed global relevance, nuclear power, diplomacy, tradition, but history doesn't honor symbols, it measures substance. Behind polite smiles was a broken balance sheet. Stage 6 was denial. Then came the Soviet Union, the 20th century's bold experiment. Armed with ideology and missiles, it challenged capitalism itself. But even revolutions can't defy mathematics. The pattern resumed its course. Stage 1, military overextension. The USSR spent 20% of GDP on arms, supporting Cuba, Vietnam, and Africa. The economy starved to feed the army. Power consumed production, ideology consumed logic. Stage 2, stagnation. Factories produced waste, farms failed, innovation died. Central planning strangled creativity. By the 1980s, a nation rich in land couldn't feed itself. Stage 3, currency collapse. The ruble was fake money, usable only by decree. People traded in dollars or gold. When oil prices fell, the illusion shattered. The state was rich in weapons, but bankrupt in reality. Stage 4, loss of empire. From Poland to East Germany, satellites broke free. The Iron Curtain fell, revealing hollow power. Within 2 years, the USSR ceased to exist. The Soviet Union collapsed without invasion, without surrender, without a single foreign soldier crossing its borders. It died from within, consumed by inefficiency, corruption, and denial. When belief in the system evaporates, even the largest structures crumble in silence. The red banners came down, and the pattern was complete again. 3 empires: Spain, Britain, the USSR, different centuries, different ideologies, one identical sequence. Overextension, debasement, debt, decay, denial, collapse. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes with precision, and the rhythm is now playing in Washington. Stage 1 for America: military overextension, over 750 bases in 80 countries, troops in 150 nations, commitments that outnumber capabilities. Even the Romans never tried to police this many borders. Power spread too thin eventually snaps. The US defense budget exceeds $850 billion, more than the next 10 nations combined. Yet equipment ages, recruitment falls, and wars multiply. Empire is not a virtue, it is a bill that never stops coming due. Stage 2, currency debasement. When Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, the dollar became faith, not metal. Since then, the money supply has multiplied 400%. We print value faster than we create it. That is not wealth, it's dilution. Spain mixed copper into silver. Britain printed paper for wars. The Soviet Union issued rubles no one wanted. America prints digits. The mechanism evolves, the outcome repeats. Stage 3, the debt spiral. America owes $36 trillion, 120% of GDP. Interest payments alone approach $1 trillion per year. We borrow to pay interest on what we already owe. That's not policy, it's surrender by spreadsheet. Spain defaulted 4 times. Britain inflated away its debts. The USSR simply stopped existing. When liabilities outrun credibility, collapse chooses the timing. Stage 4, loss of productive capacity. Factories moved abroad, supply chains outsourced. We design, finance, and consume, but no longer build. The empire imports everything but confidence. Stage 5, social decay. Crime rises, trust dies, and politics becomes performance. Families fracture, communities vanish, and cynicism becomes patriotism's shadow. This is not decline, it's disintegration from within. The pattern continues. Stage 6 waits ahead. Loss of reserve currency. For a century, the dollar has been the world's spine, but spines bend under debt. When confidence cracks, money returns home to die. China and Russia trade in yuan and rubles. Saudi Arabia sells oil outside the dollar. BRICS nations stockpile gold. Each small step is a signal. The world is quietly moving on. Reserve currencies die slowly, then suddenly. Confidence is a switch, not a slope. The pound ruled for a century. The dollar has ruled for one too. History's timer is blinking again. Stage 7, collapse. When debts can't be paid, they aren't. When empires can't retreat, they shatter. The United States won't fade gracefully, it will break abruptly, as the others did. The Soviet Union took 900 days to die. Britain lost its empire in 20 years. Spain decayed across a century. The US collapse will be faster, because digital money collapses at digital speed. Algorithms sell faster than humans think. Markets move before people react. When fear meets automation, liquidity disappears. This is how modern empires implode, instantaneously. Faith built America's currency. Faith will also end it. Because once belief breaks, no law or army can rebuild it. Empires don't die from attack. They die from disbelief. The early signs are already here. Insider selling, central banks hoarding gold, sovereign funds shifting to safety. The powerful always exit first. The public learns last. Liquidity is vanishing in treasury markets. The same warning appeared before every great crash. When the safest asset trembles, it means the foundation is gone. Officials smile for cameras, insisting stability. They said the same in 1929, 1971, and 2008. Every empire collapses with reassurance on its lips. Denial is always the last policy. The yield curve has been inverted for 3 years. Every past inversion meant recession. But statistics are ignored when faith is convenient. Math doesn't bend for optimism. Each empire thought it was special. Spain had divine right. Britain had industry. The USSR had ideology. America has technology. But math doesn't care about miracles. Stage 5 decays have moral cost. Crime, drugs, division. They're not symptoms, they're evidence. A healthy society doesn't fear its own reflection. But America now averts its eyes. The final denial? It can't happen here. Every empire whispers that line before the fall. The Romans said it. So did the British. So do we. Maybe there's still time. Empires can reform before they break. But reform requires humility, and humility rarely follows hubris. The longer the denial, the shorter the survival. If collapse comes, it will feel instant. Markets freezing, payments halting, faith evaporating. People won't understand. They'll just wake up poorer. That's how history teaches its lessons. But history is not prophecy, it's warning. Patterns exist so they can be broken. Awareness is the only antidote to arrogance. The choice is still ours, but not for long. Spain, Britain, the USSR, all had chances to reform, all waited too long. Reform delayed becomes collapse accelerated. The math is patient, politics isn't. America's best hope isn't dominance, it's discipline. To produce more than it consumes, to save more than it borrows, to rebuild what it outsourced, to remember that arrogance ruins arithmetic. Every empire ends, but decline is not destiny. If America learns from history, it can rewrite the sequence. Stage 6 and 7 are not inevitable, unless ignored. Empires fall when people stop believing they can. Recovery begins when they believe they must. Freedom demands responsibility, not comfort. Prosperity demands work, not worship. Spain believed gold was wealth. Britain believed empire was wealth. The USSR believed control was wealth. America must remember, wealth is productivity. If history humbles us, it will be mercy, not punishment. Because humility rebuilds what hubris destroys. Collapse, if faced with courage, can become rebirth. The future still belongs to those who study the past. Empires die, but lessons live. If we listen, history might still grant us another chance. Stage 5 isn't the end, it's the last warning. The time between decay and disaster is short, but it's still time. Collapse is never inevitable until it's complete. Awareness is power. If citizens understand the pattern, maybe the sequence can break. The real war isn't against enemies abroad, it's against decay within. Every empire fights that war last. Few survive it. Will America be one of them? Empires fall fast because they ignore slow warnings. Debt is not just math, it's morality delayed. Every unpaid bill becomes a lesson in humility. When historians look back on this era, they'll see a choice. A nation that could have learned from its predecessors, but didn't. Or one that remembered before it was too late. The pattern is ancient, but fate is not fixed. Spain's gold, Britain's debt, the Soviets' control, all warnings carved into time. America still stands at Stage 5. Stage 6 and 7 are optional, but not for long. Subscribe to Finance Through History, where every past collapse is a map to the future we can still change.